I think a lot of that though has to do with youth, right? Like,
Yeah.
you guys are younger than I am, and I was there, and I see certain other people do it too that have a lot of youth left in them. They want to go, 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 right? And they spread themselves too thin rather than looking more at like a smaller picture of things, Dun, 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 dun. We should introduce ourselves. Joey Davis.
Connor Schellong.
Isaac Young.
So we got the problem child here.
Yes,
Connor.
we do.
Here we go.
How many deer did you kill last year, Connor?
6.
Did you give any of it away, or y'all
yeah.
consume it already? Or
I have taken some deer meat.
He's taken some.
I will probably
Family
take some
members
more.
have taken some.
Huh.
A lot of it's been right in the belly here.
Yeah, there we
the
go.
old septic tank.
That's right.
I can eat venison at least 3-4 times a week, at least.
Easily.
Yeah, me too.
And if it's already cooked and in the fridge, I can
It's
eat
even
it every day.
easier.
Yeah.
Yep.
I dip it in ranch.
You do?
Yep.
Huh.
It's gross.
Yeah, that's a little foul.
Yeah. Medium rare.
Really?
Venison steaks and ranch.
Huh. So the ranch gets a little red time to time?
Oh yeah.
Oh, God.
Then he just juices it
Well, you
down
gotta
with some
think.
more.
You gotta think. Venison has a very low fat content.
So you got to mix your ranch with it?
Yes. So the ranch has a lot of fat in it.
Isaac, that's disgusting.
Hey. I mean, we got a bottle of ranch at the store today.
That's the first thing he went
For
for.
deer.
But here's venison. You gotta have the ranch.
I'm a big ranch guy.
Do you keep packets of ranch in your back pocket when you're
No.
deer hunting?
No.
No.
Just
I
rip them
should
open.
though.
Got to keep the fat coming.
I actually, well, yeah. Well, if you're a high horsepower machine, you got to put the fat in, right?
Yep. So what's your go-to ranch?
Hidden Valley,
Hidden Valley.
for sure. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
I know
my
there's
my
big
son's
bucks out
too.
there too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Calls it dippy. Got to
Oh,
have
yeah.
dippy on everything. It's
See,
either ranch or ketchup.
if
Yep.
well, he's gonna be a good deer hunter.
Oh,
I can
dude,
tell
your
you
kid's
right
already
now.
spotting deer.
Yeah, if he likes Hidden Valley,
Killer.
there's actually an area just south of where I live in Vermont, and there's a Hidden Valley road.
Is there?
Yeah, and every time I go out in there, I just think of ranch dressing.
There's one on the other side of me too, on the other side of the big hill.
Really? Doesn't that like just draw you in a little bit?
No,
Hidden
no.
Valley.
No, too many
Just that little
liberals.
Hidden Valley.
Too many liberals in
Too
Hidden
many
Valley.
liberals
Well,
over
there's
there.
probably big deer because big deer like
Yeah,
liberals.
there is some big deer over there.
That's I
Yeah.
mean,
That's a fact.
is a fact.
Huh.
So, Joey, tell us a little bit about your season this year.
My season was decent. It was a struggle to find big tracks. I think it was for most of the guys up north. Just could not get onto them. Couldn't cover a lot of ground and not finding the tracks that you wanted to follow. There was a ton of, I'd say 170 to 180, 190 pound tracks, but none of the great big ones. And it kills me to think of, but man, they killed one up there. One of the last days of the season during muzzleloader, weighed 170, 150 some odd inch buck.
Yeah,
Wow.
Kills me to know that I stepped over that deer.
Yeah,
right.
for sure. Probably did.
Right.
But you gotta decide what you want to be. You want to be an antler hunter, or do you want to be a weight hunter? One or the other. You can't generally have both.
Right.
Usually they don't
Very
have
rarely.
both.
Very rarely do they have both.
Yep, for certain. Most of them are tight rack, muscly little antlers.
Yep.
Shitty antlers. Everything, all the nutrition goes to their body. That's where they get that weight. But no, it was good. Shot one in New Hampshire. That was a mid 190s buck. If I didn't kill him, I would have told you he would have weighed 220 all day long.
Nice.
He had a great big track on him.
Wicked track,
stagger
wicked
too, huh?
stagger.
Just a short guy.
Yeah, and to me, I thought he was, decently stepped,
Yeah.
But when I walked up to him, oh my goodness, he looked like a little midget. He just didn't have it. Then I went to Vermont and got onto a buck. I knew of a buck in an area that myself and a buddy have been chasing for quite some time. And it was an area that nobody could really get into because it was gated on one side. So you had to go a long ways to get to it on another. And I got up into a bunch of moose and came across this buck track. And that buck was 240, 250 all day long. And took him down off the mountain, and I knew I was close to him. And he was just dog and doe is all he was doing. We were headed in the right direction, and I ended up following him right straight till dark. I didn't leave until it was dark. I went back in there the next morning, and that next morning it was snowing hard. We got about 3-4 inches of snow, and it was dumping. And I got down into where I'd left him, and I could follow from my tracks to where he bedded, which was only about 100 yards. But I could not make sense of his track from where he went from his bed onward, because there was such a barnyard of tracks all over the place from numerous days. And at that point in time, we'd had about 6 inches, and everything was filled in and just little dimples. I searched that ridge for 3 more days and could not find him anywhere. Was there one day and gone the next. Right. Gone the next. But,
on to the next range.
Yep. And then I hunted Mass, shot one down there. Killed one in Illinois with a bow, and then killed one in Illinois with a gun. It was
good. You only hunted Mass, what, a couple days?
Yeah, just that one day. Drove down that afternoon, spent the night. Killed that buck that day, loaded him in the truck, drove home because we were supposed to get that big snowstorm, and I had to plow. And then came back down just a couple days before Christmas and I think I saw 4 or 5 bucks, but nothing that made me want to pull the trigger. You know, one was had a decent track, good track to him, very little antlers. I say very little. It was a rack buck of some kind, but it wasn't one that I was going to mount.
Rack.
Yeah, it wasn't one I was going to mount. And I'd already shot 4 deer, right? And Jamie'd already shot 2. We just didn't need to meet.
Right.
And
Jamie killed a 200-pounder, right?
Yep, she killed a 200 in Vermont.
With her bow, right?
Yeah, with her bow. Yeah, yep. Yeah, that was a good buck. She was.
Heck yeah.
She was happy.
That's a big buck.
Yeah, yeah.
200 in Vermont. It's hard to come by.
Yep. I actually saw another one up there after she shot hers. I saw an 8-pointer up there the day before we left to go bow hunt in Illinois. And I was like, oh, that's a pretty good buck. You know, somebody will shoot him. Like, you know, my mother-in-law or my dad or somebody will shoot him. You know, he was a 16-inch wide 8-pointer. They killed that deer a mile down the road, I think, like, 3rd day of rifle season. He weighed 223.
Holy crap.
Wow.
And you didn't know he was a big, heavy one like that?
He didn't look that heavy to me.
Yeah. It's funny
He
how
was
they
80
carry weight sometimes.
He was 80 yards. Beautiful deer. Blonde colored. Beautiful buck. Yeah, he done got it.
223.
223.
Up in the North Country.
Yep.
Yeah, we don't get them like that down in Rutland County very often.
Yeah.
Let me tell you.
Yeah, but
and your Massachusetts buck is on film. You killed him on film. It's on the Northwoods Whitetails YouTube page. You guys should check it out. It's a good hunt.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was a pretty good hunt. Pretty good story too.
It's a good hunt.
Yeah. Yeah. That thing was a bear to get out. It was just about 3 miles. I think it was 3.1 to the truck.
Yep.
I had a mountain between me and the rig, and there was no going off the one side of the mountain. It was way too steep, so I had to bring him all the way down and around. Dang. It was a good thing. My father-in-law was with me, and he met me about, I don't know, quarter of the way up in there, and that last quarter was downhill to the stream, and then it was all uphill.
Right.
Oh, it would have killed me. I'd still be dragging.
Did you have Mount Laurel to go through?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That stuff's a bear.
Yeah, you gotta love that.
But man, does it grow them?
It does. That's where the big ones are, man.
So.
Yep. It was something about those long drags that really, when you get back to the truck, it's the best feeling on earth. I think.
It is.
When you're driving out and you got that thing in the back, there's really not a whole lot better.
No.
The harder you work, the greater the reward. Whatever.
Well, that's anything in life, right?
Anything.
Anything in life.
Yep.
Not just deer hunting.
Yep. I talked to some guys. I met some guys today at a gun place there, and they were talking about. The kid was talking about how he shot his buck. He was 400 yards off the road. And I said, take it when you can get it, because there's going to come a time where you're going to kill one a lot further, and you're going to wish it was 400 yards off the road sitting in a clear cut.
Not the same story, though, once you get them all.
How about that one in the Adirondacks? I almost got that first night with you.
Yeah, that would have been a...
Oh, my God. He would have about died in a wood road.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah.
The truck was about 100 yards down the road from there, too.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
I don't get them like that. That's why I didn't get them, because I don't get them like that.
Well,
if I'm going to kill
that way.
It's going to be in a spot where when I tell you where I am, you're going to go, oh, my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're on your own.
You're on your own, man. No, I have a knack for killing them in the worst spots.
I think it's just part of who we are, right?
Yeah.
Like, we want to see what's over the next ridge. and then what's over that one, right?
Yeah.
Or what's up on top of that shelf, and then what's up on the next one, like just
We're
that
not
little bit
worried
more
about
and a little bit
dragging.
more. Yep. Yep. No, I think it's something within. It takes a certain individual who wants to hunt this way, who wants to track, who wants to kill a big one, right? Not saying all those big ones live up there, because most of them don't. Most of them in the back of houses or something like that.
That's the truth. You know, I've had a theory. I talk about it a lot. I think the biggest buck in the woods is going to have the absolute best habitat. And a lot of times, the best habitat goes along with the least amount of pressure from predators, us being a predator. So you're behind $1 million mansion, or maybe $2 or $3 million mansions on the side of a, you know, let's say a ski resort or something like that. That is the best habitat for lack of predation, lack of snow. A lot of time intrusion, like you just can't get at them, and that's where they're at. And it's kind of funny. You have to kind of think backwards a lot of times, because I'm trying to. A lot of times I screw myself because I go too far.
Right, trying to get away from all that.
Getting away from all the people. Oh, the big bucks go where the people don't. No, a lot of times, like you just said, they're right in somebody's backyard, walking right by them.
Isaac, how was your season?
Oh, my season was awful. I shouldn't say that, though, because I didn't have a ton of time, and I was very stubborn with trying to shoot a big buck in Vermont. I ended up passing on 3 bucks in Vermont, which is, you know, with the amount of time I had, I should have probably killed one and moved on to greener pastures. But the stubbornness that lies within me that kills some deer also will screw me sometimes, because I really wanted to kill a big one in Vermont this year. One of them, I was up on this ridge and I was working my way in, new area, never been there. And this buck dogs this doe right in front of me, like right on this big pointy ridge. The first thing I saw was a doe. She popped up over the ridge and her tongue was hanging right out. And I was like, oh boy, here we go. Safety went off, GoPro went on, picked the gun up, and rack 4-pointer jumps right up over. And I pulled the gun up, held it on his shoulder, and I was like, man, I should just end this right now and go to New Hampshire. But I didn't. I stuck to my guns and I let him go. And, you know, I ended up going to the Adirondacks with Connor for 4 days. I had a crack at 2 bucks. I didn't pull the trigger, but I saw 2 bucks. Didn't get either of them. And then by the time I went down to Massachusetts, I think a lot of the bucks were shut out. And they weren't in the areas where they usually are, because there was no acorns in New England, it seemed like, this year.
And there was 2 feet of snow.
And there was 2 feet of snow when I was down there. Well, I ended up tracking a buck on New Year's Eve that was shut out. I caught him 40 yards, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Bloody pedestals on his head. You know? So it's like, oh, what are you going to do? Right. You know, you can't.
Luck of the draw.
Last day, I could have sealed the deal on who knows what it was.
You can't win them all.
No, you can't win them all. And, you know, I didn't have a lot of time, but one thing I will say is I've been kind of reflecting on my season, and I think I spread myself a little too thin, because I know of a lot of big deer. I've scouted a lot of big deer, and I wasn't doing a lot of like big adventure hunts, what I kind of like to call them, where you go in the dark and you come out in the dark. And that's when I seem to kill a lot of my bucks, is on those big adventure hunts.
I think a lot of that, though, has to do with youth, right? Like,
yeah.
You guys are younger than I am, you know, and I was there, and I see certain other people do it too that have a lot of youth left in them. They want to go, right? And they spread themselves too thin rather than looking more at like a smaller picture of things, you know, or
just focusing in on
a
spot maybe or whatever.
Yeah, you know, I don't know. I know that I did that. Used to spread myself way too thin. You know, I'd be here and I'd be over there and then I'd be back here.
In the same day, right?
Yeah.
That's what I was doing. Stupid.
I think over time, as you evolve, you slow down, you process things a little bit different and analyze them, right? Like we do it with everything. I mean, whether it's work, everyday life, family, whatever it may be. And I think that's something that you eventually grow into and you settle down.
Yeah.
If you're going to go. Yep.
Yeah, so next year I want to try to do more of those big adventure hunts, and like I was talking to Connor earlier about this. You know, be okay with the idea of potentially ruining a day. Because I have a hard time with that. I have a hard time. Like, I get up on a ridge, I'll do like 3 or 4 miles up in there, and if it's not like exploding with buck sign or I'm not seeing deer, I'm like, I gotta go. And I run out of there.
You jump out.
And I go to the next one. And I'm looking for the home run all the time. I need to stop doing that. But I think a lot of the reasons why I'm doing that is because I'm working on such little time that I feel like if I'm not in the money, I'm just hurting myself. But I think a lot of times me trying to move from point A to point B to point A to point B to point C, I'm screwing myself.
You're burning an hour in the truck here,
Burning
an
a
hour
truck,
in the truck after lunch.
here. Yeah, because it's not like I'm hunting adjacent properties. They're like counties away from each other. But yeah, so I didn't kill a buck this year. First time since I was probably 13 years old.
But you knew what you wanted. You didn't
I knew what I
settle
wanted.
for
See, that was
something
another
smaller.
thing. I didn't settle. And I am kind of proud of that in a way.
Right.
And, you know, I ran a lot of cameras this year that had giant bucks daylighting on my cameras. So, you know, like I'm still...
Sometimes it's good to be normal, though, right? Like sometimes it, like, you know, a reality check, bring you back down to earth a little bit. Like, I just came from Massachusetts where I killed a mid 160s buck. I killed a 140s buck in New Hampshire just years prior. Big one in Vermont.
You can't expect that every year.
No, and then I go buckless, right? But there's nothing wrong with killing that 4-pointer, right?
No,
like,
there's nothing wrong with
if it's a good hunt. You're happy with it? That's all that matters. It doesn't matter what somebody else thinks.
No, for sure. And, you know, I could have killed that buck, but then if I would have killed that buck, I would have been pissed at myself because maybe I would have gotten a big one in Vermont like I wanted.
Right.
You know, and I'm erring on that side. You know, I'm almost 30, and I have a whole wall full of 4-pointers. My garage is full of 4-pointers, and that when I kind of decided I wanted to kill bigger bucks, you know, it's kind of like the progression of a hunter or whatever. Some people would have killed that 4-pointer all day.
Oh, yeah.
Another one of the bucks that I let go in Vermont this year, I was hunting a national forest piece. I was walking out. I was bow hunting. And I decided, it was like a half an hour before dark, and I was up in my saddle, and I decided I'm not going to sit here till dark. I'm going to kind of work my way out of this area. You know, in the daylight, maybe I'll catch something coming out in the daylight. And as I'm walking out, it's like almost dark, and I hear something coming down off the ridge, and I'm like, no way. I pull an arrow out of the quiver, I knock it, and it's like coming right down at me. And sure enough, I thought it was a 4-pointer, but I ended up getting pictures of it. It was actually a little 5-pointer, just a little dinky little guy. And, you know, if you could kill 2 bucks in Vermont still, I probably would have stuck them with the bow.
That's tough. I mean, personally,
You know?
Especially with the bow.
I think you should be able to shoot 2 bucks. I think it should be 1 with a gun and you're done.
Yeah.
But I do think I would love to see him adopt more of like a New Hampshire rule where you start September 15th. It gives you time to get onto those big ones, right? Like those big ones are still coming off their summer patterns. They're just coming out of velvet. They're still a little stupid. It is a perfect time to kill them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They're not going too far that time of year.
If you can find them.
Right, if you can find them.
And you know, Nate and I did it a few years ago in New Hampshire. We found 4 or 5 bucks in September. And my God, when you find it, there are rubs everywhere.
Yeah, whether
like,
you're in their core,
when
whether
you're
it's on a
oh my
scrape
gosh.
or maybe it's a food source or something, like when you find...
For us, it was a cut.
Was it?
It was one cut. It was a perfect age. It was like 3 years old. And there was acorns in and around this cut. And there wasn't a doe. There wasn't a doe in there. It was $5. And they ended up killing one of them. I had passed on a 5-pointer and a 7-pointer the week before he killed the big 8 that he killed. But what I'm getting at is if you can find a group of bucks in September, it is very, very easy.
Yeah, your odds of getting one are pretty good.
They're up there. But I've also hunted over here for like 4 years, and I've only found a group like that one time.
I've never found a group like that.
Right, yeah, it's not easy. You don't hear of a lot of guys finding it.
No.
Because it's ocean
You're also
of woods
hunting
over
big
here.
woods, though, too. You know what I mean? Like, your bachelor groups are going to be a couple bucks, if that. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
In the big woods, you don't
Yeah.
have a high population of them. When you go down to the farm country, you might have that bachelor bucks,
Right.
Right.
4 to 7 in a group or something.
And
like
this was
that.
big woods though.
Yeah,
It was big
where
woods.
you were, was
Yep,
it? Yep.
Yep.
Huh.
It was big woods, but the cut was perfect, and I think that's why there was so many bucks in there. But
You were just in that pocket. Of
there
it,
was just a
too.
pocket.
Right.
Like there was cuts all over that range.
Mm-hmm.
It was just that one. So I think it's like they're just in like one little spot. And that's why I think it's so rare when you find that little bachelor group.
Oh yeah.
Because I think it's like out of let's say, 10,000 acres, the bachelor group's going to be in 100 acres.
Right.
That's not
They're
much.
staying right there.
Dude, they weren't going
Everything
anywhere.
they needs right there.
You get pictures of them every day.
Right.
Like, and
Yeah, I mean, we see it a lot in the north, like even with a moose, right? Like a big bull. I mean, he's got everything he needs within a quarter mile. I mean, more food. You can just lay there and
Yeah.
reach side to side and get up the next
Yeah, they
day,
don't go
move
anywhere.
10 feet, reach either side, pick his 30 pounds
Right.
of food a day,
Mm-hmm.
and onward. And a big buck's the same way. As long as it's got food, water, and cover, he ain't going to go far.
Right.
He's just got packed of pounds on. Winter's coming. Love's
the
coming.
rut's coming. Yep.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of love, Connor.
Hey, Connor.
For all you single ladies out
Yeah.
there, Connor is a single man.
I'm not sure many ladies are going to listen to this.
I don't know about
They might.
I'm going to start like a huntersonly.com
Ah.
for you
There
and
we
Corey
go.
Ryder
You
or
don't
something.
have to be lonely
Yep.
at Trackers
Like-
Only.
I
Yeah?
think it's just me
That's
and
a
Corey
ring
on
to
there.
it?
Just you and Corey.
Probably the only group of guys
Oh
on there.
my
huh?
gosh.
Corey's listening to this, swearing us up and down
Yeah,
right now.
probably.
But
That's funny.
any luck with the 40-year-old Connor?
40-year-old and still working on it.
Huh. Well, best of luck.
Yeah.
He's a pretty good cougar hunter.
Yeah, I know. I heard about it.
Yeah.
We just went out west shed hunting there. That was a
Yeah,
good
you got
time.
a week full of that. Huh?
I did.
Yeah, give
I
me
did.
give me some details on the shed trip, boys.
It was a lot of fun.
It certainly was.
Yeah. We left just in time before that great big snowstorm hit.
Yeah.
It was like, what, 30, 40 mile an hour winds in Boston, raining?
Yeah, we didn't think we were gonna get out of there.
Yeah.
So where'd you guys go? You got to tell the listeners.
West of the Mississippi. That's
Oh,
all.
oh,
That's
we're
all.
not
Oh, yeah.
We're not telling people.
None your business.
We're there at None Your Business.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Top secret. Everybody and their brother wants to find antlers,
Take a
right?
guess.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you could.
Yeah. I can assure you that you can pick a spot on the map west of the Mississippi, and it's got an antler there. So just go find one.
true.
You don't need to
That's
worry
true.
about where
Miles
we're
on
going.
There's antlers around here too.
Oh, there is.
They're
There sure
buried.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, it was fun. We walked a pile of miles.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, pile of miles. We were doing 10, 15 miles a day.
Miles for piles.
60 degree weather a couple days.
Yeah.
You'd walk 5 miles and not pick up an antler. Some even
Boo
more. I mean,
hoo.
Eric that went with us. What did he find? A couple days, he only found like couple
Yeah. He
couple
had a
antlers
couple
each
slow
day.
days, but then
All of
you
a
get into
sudden,
a pocket of them, just carry out a bag full.
yeah,
No
Yeah.
kidding.
Yeah.
yeah. Connor coming down off the ridge. I got a video of Connor coming down off. Looked like he was carrying a baby.
Yeah.
How many antlers did you guys find? What was the number?
We all together we brought home 220, but we found around 250 between what was left in the woods.
Okay.
It was just
I can
junk.
tell you, I didn't leave anything in the woods. I picked up every old piece of chalk.
Atta boy.
Fine,
That's the old Vermonter in
They
you.
all count.
They all count.
That's right.
You know what? You almost left that old moose antler in the woods that day.
That
You
old
remember
green
that?
thing? Yeah.
There's an old
Yeah.
green moose stump he found, and he was going to leave it. I was like,
Thing stunk.
nuh-uh.
It's like
Weighed
dripping
about
water out of
20
it.
pounds and was 10
It
inches
was like
long.
this big.
Gross.
Not
Yeah.
even.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
He suckered
No
me into
kidding.
that.
Hang those babies in the trees. They ain't worth your effort. They don't pay dividends.
No.
No,
I've never found a moose antler.
really?
Never.
Huh. You got to go north, man.
Yeah,
Either that or getting some of Connor's country.
I guess. I don't know. I guess
we
I've
were
never
spoiled
really,
out there though.
I've never really
Yeah.
looked for moose antlers. But yeah, you guys were spoiled.
Big time.
I was quite jealous
We-
at work.
You came
I'll
back
give it to
here
you.
today and walked around, I don't know, 5 miles maybe. Like, this is a joke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah.
dude.
No, you definitely work for it here.
The
but-
shed hunt really sucks around here. I'll do literally last year. I probably did. I'm guessing, but I would have to say close to 300 miles probably,
Yeah,
and I found 13 antlers.
that's not bad though.
We were going all winter into like
Yeah.
June even.
Into June, we're out there like full summertime. We're looking for antlers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Hell, it was August even. We were poking around this area looking
Oh
for
yeah.
antlers.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I'm good at finding old chalky ones.
That's right.
The old.
Old
Old
junkers.
Oh, that brings up a point I want to make. So, let me ask you guys, what do you think chews up antlers the most in this country?
You mean country as in northeast,
Yeah.
like big woods northeast?
Yeah.
I can tell you my opinion. Connor,
Sure.
do you want to go
Sure.
first or
I was
what?
gonna say mice probably.
Okay,
I mean,
mice.
Snow?
That's
Do
good.
they chew under the snow?
Mice. What else?
What do I? You want to
Yeah.
know what annihilates them?
Tell me.
A bear.
Okay.
Bears.
All right.
Yeah.
What
There's
else?
so much calcium inside those antlers, right?
Okay.
And
Bears just
we all
hammering on
know how strong a bear's sense of smell is, right? I mean, they're the only animal that can smell a newborn fawn or days prior to when a cow moose is going to give birth to her calf,
They're
right?
a good fart. They can smell.
I'm sure they
Good
can,
fart,
right?
yeah.
But
Good Taco Bell fart.
they will annihilate a beautiful chocolate brown antler.
Wow.
Annihilate it.
Just
Oh,
Kobayashi on
like
it.
you wouldn't believe. But no, I've seen everything. I've seen where fisher cats have chewed on them. I've seen where coyotes have chewed on them. Obviously,
Okay.
squirrels,
Okay.
mice,
Pause there. At
porcupines.
squirrels.
Yeah.
So what I'm thinking,
Oh shit! Here we go.
we catch some squirrels. We train them on sheds. We put little GPS collars on them. Okay. We release them. They find us sheds.
Huh? I will tell you this,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Maybe for deer antlers that'll work.
That's what I want. That's what I want. That's
Moose
what I want.
antlers definitely not,
There
right?
goes
Right, no,
squirrels
so
up
I
in the
don't-
country, huh?
You would swear that there is nothing other than a damn moose that lives where we find most of our antlers, right?
Right,
There's just nothing for a lot of that small game.
There's red squirrels in that country though, right?
Yeah. There's
Yeah,
a
red
few
squirrels.
of them, right?
No, but
There's
I'm
not a
talking-
lot to eat other than
I want to get like a big old gray squirrel, like almost maybe like a
Those
city,
fox squirrels,
like a
right?
city gray squirrel,
Yeah.
like a big fat city gray squirrel, you know. But what I'm thinking is you let them loose and you're like, go get the antler, you know, whatever, and it goes and you're watching it on your GPS, and when it stops, that's how you know.
really.
Yeah, they're not gonna bring it back.
That's where you drop the golden.
That's where you drop the golden pin. Connor, don't tell people about the golden
I don't know
pins.
if I could give you my opinion about squirrels and
Yeah.
that thing.
don't-
Fuck those things.
You don't
Seriously.
think this? No.
They will annihilate an antler out
Before
west. Those
before
fox
we could
squirrels,
even get to it.
those
you think?
fox squirrels have freaking nuts that are dime sized. When they're above
Right.
you and you're sitting there bow hunting and they
Yeah.
get above you and they start chattering, those
Yeah.
things got balls on them like you wouldn't believe.
Probably, yeah.
They will
Yeah.
they do, and they annihilate sheds like out in Illinois, right? Like we pick out there, and if there's an antler that's been on the ground 2 weeks, it's
Yep.
been chewed to shit.
Yeah, it's kind of like around my area in southern Vermont. Like
How
that's
do they
why.
smell those? Do you think?
I don't know.
Yeah, oh, yeah,
Oh yeah, they got it.
yeah.
The things are like the size of most people's cats.
Right.
They're
Yeah,
huge.
no, they're big. They have them in Ohio, and I used to go down there with my dad. We'd see them. I used to shoot at them
Yeah.
with a slug gun.
Did you?
They get a
Oh,
few
yeah.
kind of squirrels out there, don't they?
Fox squirrels are big,
What are
and
those
they-
black squirrels?
That's what I'm referring to is
Okay.
those fox squirrels. Those
Okay,
fox squirrels
so
are big.
I just learned this recently. Black squirrels are actually just a gray squirrel with like a rare thing, a rare genetic thing.
How the hell do we get talking about frickin' squirrels? We're
I
supposed to
don't
be
know.
talking about tracking bucks here.
Well, you know,
Tangents.
tangents. We're going down different rabbit holes or squirrel holes. Yeah.
Huh.
But see, I want to train a squirrel to find sheds. Do you know that old Italian guys used to train ferrets to get rabbits in holes?
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard that?
No, I've heard of some pretty messed up stories. I mean, when we were killing bucks in Ontario, we were staying with a guy that was, half full of shit, I thought,
Right.
quite honestly.
Okay.
But he was talking about follow the pine marten. Follow the pine marten. They'll take you to the big bucks.
Yeah.
They want to eat the gut pile. Like, what are you talking about, buddy? This came from the same guy, right? He was from Minnesota. And,
Minnesota.
yeah, way up,
Yeah,
like
way up.
Fort Francis area. And they reintroduced the wolves. Well, they were young. They killed this wolf and had a collar on it. And they took it to the freaking train station, put that collar on the train. That train was on fucking next day flight to freaking Chicago.
Oh,
Can you imagine?
the wolf went to
Yeah.
Chicago?
The collar did. I think the wolf took a bath.
Yeah, I'd say.
He was a unit, man. When he arrived, the Indians, he bought this lodge up there. The Indians were stealing his stuff.
Really?
So he put a target, and he's like an ex-military guy. He put a target like 400 yards out in a lake on a buoy, and every morning he'd wake up and he'd shoot that buoy. And of course, those Indians, all they do is hunt and they fish, one or the other, and they drive by that buoy every day. And they got the hint real quick. Don't mess around. But
wow.
Yeah. That was a place, though. I mean, we had a lot of fun up there. When we got snow, it was like a light switch turned on. We killed some serious bucks up there.
I want to hear some Kenora stories.
You want to hear some Kenora stories?
Yeah, I kind of dream about Kenora because I feel like I kind of missed the boat.
Yeah.
When it comes with like peak Kenora.
I think it was phenomenal, right? Like we weren't seeing deer like some guys. I'm not gonna say I was in Kenora because I wasn't, right? But
Canada though.
Yeah, I was in Canada. Yeah, something like that. But we were seeing, I don't know, 25 deer in 2 weeks times, but most of them were buck, and we were seeing some good ones, right? We'd go a long ways and cut buck tracks. We could pick and choose what buck track we wanted. I remember one day we drove by like, I don't know, 5 buck tracks that were over 200 pounds in a 45-mile stretch, right?
Why would you say there's so many big bucks up there?
It was a certain time where the forest was evolving, right? Like they were starting to come in and recut it, and with that, those deer came. Mild winters, hardly any predation to them at all. So as they logged further and further, those deer just kept booming in numbers.
Following.
And there's so much cedar up there around those lakes. Like you get up there to a lake and it's all chewed off, 6-8 feet right off the ice.
Yep.
They had everything they needed up there, and mild winters allowed that population to boom. With it came the hunters and came the wolves, right? And the wolves annihilated it. Hunter pressure wasn't it, right? Like Vermonters were going up there and shooting everything under the sun, but Canadians do that in general. They don't care what they shoot. They're going to shoot it.
Right. And the wolves are hunting year-round.
Yeah, the wolves are hunting year-round, and they started getting some deep snow, and that just put it under, right? Like, I still believe that you could go there today, even as bad as that herd is, and kill just as big a buck there as you could anywhere in the Northeast.
Really?
They're still there, right? The strongest
Yeah.
always survive.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
True.
But,
That's where you shot your biggest buck, huh?
yeah, I shot some big ones up there. Yeah, no doubt about it. Yep. And the biggest was at the end of the road, 2 miles back. That was a big one. Yep, good times.
What'd it weigh?
That one was like 260.
And it scored?
184.
That's big.
Hard
Just
to
so you
come
guys
by.
know,
But
that's big.
Yeah, but I didn't know it had that on its head when I shot it, right?
Right,
Like I knew it was a big buck,
260.
but I couldn't, I
You
couldn't
didn't
count
180
inches.
inches on its head.
I would
Yeah,
have thrown
yeah.
up all
Yeah.
over myself
Yeah,
if I shot that deer.
yeah,
Just so you know. And if I do one day,
Yeah.
I will lose my mind.
yeah,
260, 180.
yeah.
You better get some help for that one.
I'm not dragging shit.
No.
I'm too
I
excited.
didn't budging it.
Look at that thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
it was good. I killed.
Were you pumped when you shot that thing?
Yeah, no, I was.
Were you
pumped.
like-
I wasn't a big score guy, right? Like, and I'm
Right.
still not in
Yeah.
a way. I'm more
Yeah.
about the weight of it.
Well, you're
And
up
that
there.
thing to date is the biggest buck I've ever seen dead. And I've seen a pile. I mean, I've shot 5 of them over 250. That is the biggest buck I've ever seen to date. And I've seen a pile of bucks that went 250. A pile of them. This thing looked like a freaking cow.
Do you have any northeastern 250 plusers?
None.
None. Oh,
That one I killed
Canada?
in Maine a couple years ago. That one I bet you was hovering it in its prime.
and
Right?
what did he weigh?
That weighed 209.
209,
Last day
but
of
you-
muzzleloader,
but you
December
think-
11th.
So you think he was like a 250
I
ranger?
would say he was a 240, 250 all day. He was a
Wow.
big one. Long deer.
No kidding.
He was super run down. But
December
It's a big
11th
deer.
yeah.
in the North Country. That's, yeah.
Yeah, that country he was living in his big country.
Yep.
Not much hunting pressure, not much snow, but
Right.
plenty of ladies to chase, and that's what ran
Mm.
him down the most. So, yeah.
So is Kenora, do you think that's the best big woods setting you've ever hunted in? When it was in its prime?
Well, I've never been to Kenora.
Okay,
Swear to God-
okay.
Swear
Not
to God, I've
not
never been
Kenora.
to Kenora in my life, right?
I'm
But
talking
where I was,
where
yes.
you were in Canada.
There ain't woods that are bigger than that. I can tell you that.
Really?
Okay.
No, like
No,
Maine
not,
is-
not just big. I'm saying, was that the best? Like when like if you were to die and go to deer hunting heaven tomorrow,
mm-hmm.
was that it? Like when in
For
its
big
prime,
woods, yeah,
in
100.
big deer.
Yeah, 100%.
That was the best, huh?
Yeah, the guys that I was with had all hunted Maine back in the 80s, and they compared it to what Maine was
Wow.
in the late 80s, early 90s, right? Like really good, passing up buck tracks that were going into shitholes. Really, really good country.
Right, back when the Benoits were
Smashing them
up
yep,
there.
And they were smashing them all
in
right.
the 80s and in the 90s.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep. But in terms of size of woods, there's nothing that compares to it. Like there's a road that goes in, and it's got spur roads that go off of it. They all pull the bridges to them, right, or boulder them off or something. So you're not going out those spurs. And there's sections of woods out there that you could walk probably 20 miles or more and not hit another road and get caught behind lakes. I mean, there's plenty of people that are still laying out there that they've never found before.
Wow.
It is not a place that you want to get turned around.
That's crazy.
How would you compare that to like the main habitat? Was it the same?
I would say it's pretty similar. Out there was actually probably a little bit more open. There's a little more rock involved, more moss.
More lakes and stuff, right?
More
That's
lakes.
what I've heard.
Yep, way more lakes. A little bit more beach, popple, shittier soil, if you will.
Yep.
That, there's not much maple or,
Zero acorns.
zero acorns. Yeah, none of that stuff.
One thing I saw a biologist said recently was, I think I read it. I can't remember where I read it, but it was a list of the best trees for whitetails.
Mm-hmm.
And the number one tree for whitetails was a popple.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. But
Yeah.
it makes sense. I mean, everywhere that I've seen popples is usually a pretty good deer hunt.
Yeah,
It's something to do with the regen, I guess.
The soil maybe or something.
Well, no, they eat that shit out of the regen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It must have something to do with the amount of carbon that it puts into the ground too, right? Like that.
Probably.
It's probably something that very few people know, but and don't hold me to this, but a lot of those trees produce a certain amount of carbon that produce that regen that a lot of birds, animals thrive off, right? There's a lot more to it than just logging and regen growing up. It's what that regen is growing up.
Right.
I mean, I'm not forester, so I can't tell you.
I
the
know
technical
big
term.
bucks love to rub on popple.
Mm-hmm.
They love to rub on popple. Just like they like to rub on an alder or
Sumac.
a sumac. Yeah, sumac. I think it has something to do with how soft it is.
Right.
So they like really feel like a big tough guy because they're just shredding the shit out of it. I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
It's a big guy beating up a midget or something.
That's funny. But yeah, no, we had a lot of fun out there. It was
Beating up a midget? I got an image of this guy just drop kicking.
Punting that little guy.
Yeah, Austin Powers, right? Yeah, the scene where he kicks Mini Me off the bridge. Yeah, that's pretty good.
the younger generation.
Have you not seen that?
Oh no, I saw it.
You saw it, okay.
Yeah.
You punted Mini Me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, no. Am I thinking of Anchorman?
I don't know what you're thinking.
I don't know what I'm thinking of. I'm thinking of punting midgets off.
Where is the best deer turf that you guys have experienced?
Oh, I hate to say.
Yeah. I have no idea. For big woods,
Yeah.
I'd have to say probably New Hampshire. It's kind of a blank statement, but New Hampshire's pretty good. I like it.
I'd agree. There in Massachusetts, I bet.
Yeah, Mass is pretty good too. But I mean,
It's not the same type of big woods, though.
no, I've been up to northern Maine. It wasn't really my cup of tea. It was very chopped up. I didn't really like
A lot
it.
of competition.
Well, not just that; it's just very chopped up. Like all the roads and stuff. And I'm sure there is some big country up there somewhere, but I wasn't in it. I was way up north and all that log country, and I don't know. I think there's giants up there because the habitat's just perfect for them.
Yeah.
And I missed a really good one up there in 2019. I'd like to get a big one in Maine eventually, but it's just I like big wilderness mountainous areas. Like that's just more. I think it's because it's what I've grown up hunting in. Rutland County. We have some big mountains. We have some big spruce top. 4,000 footers. So that's where I kind of cut my teeth when I got my driver's license. When I was, brave enough to go up in there and start stomping around the big mountains.
Right.
that's
You're
kind
not driving roads in
No,
that type of setting.
No, you're not. You were asking me earlier. There's a road that we kind of hunt around in some bigger woods down in Rutland County, and he's like, "Do big bucks ever cross that thing?" I was like, "Kidding me? No,
Yeah, they know
no
better. They've
way.
been
They
tracked a
know
time or
better.
two
Yeah,
if they cross that.
they don't cross that thing. Yeah, you can't really cut one. It's probably a lot like the Adirondacks,
Right.
in a way. You got to cut them on foot. But
I know even tracking a buck around here a few years ago, he was like following an Appalachian trail.
Yep.
And he was just like skirting the trail the whole way down it.
Yeah.
He didn't want to cross it. And then
Yeah,
finally
man.
he did cut across it, but he jumped the trail. He didn't lay a track in it.
yeah, they're smart
Right.
for sure. They don't like getting killed.
No, they don't.
No.
Do you you like hunting the more open ground? Is that what you like?
Yeah,
Do you not
I'm-
like hunting the thicker, cut
don't-
off region.
I don't like the roads, man. That's the thing with Maine that I don't like, and I haven't really messed around with like Western Maine per se. Like I was kind of up north, and I just felt like I was always in a box.
Yeah.
You know, because it's like I can only go a mile, and then I'm gonna hit another road, and like you always have it in the back of your mind. It's like, well, did I just get cut off,
Sure.
or
should I go back
am I
and
gonna
drive
push
around
this
to
thing
this
out to
road?
a road hunter? It's like it was kind of cool because up there, no matter where I hunted, I could always thumb my way back to the rig at the end of the night. I'd do that every time. There'd be a bunch of boys riding down the road, drinking beer.
What you got to be careful of is like after the third or fourth road you cross, you're like, okay, where the hell am I? What road am I on?
Yeah, for sure.
Because some of them don't go back to where you
Yeah.
came from.
Yeah,
Definitely not. Some of them are miles and miles away.
And they all look the same, I'm sure.
Yeah.
It-
They do.
I don't mind hunting cuts, but I think I like more of the more open woods than cut. And I think I've had this conversation with you. It's easier to track in the big mountains where
Yeah.
it's like, okay, there's 100 acres of cuts over here, and then there's 10,000 acres of mature forest over here with some spruce tops. That's easier
Yeah.
than hunting the it's
Flat.
cut
I
everywhere.
agree.
Flat cut.
Flat
everywhere.
cut
Yeah.
everywhere. I think the bigger deer are in the flat cut everywhere.
Mhm.
But, I just haven't got to that point where I've really messed around with it much, and probably has a lot to do with I'm from southern Vermont.
Yeah, you're hunting what you grew up.
I hunt where
Yeah.
I grew up, and I do want to get into that cut country.
Yeah.
Like you prefer the cut country, right?
I do. I prefer it. When I come back to central and southern ground, I find it way easier to track in. To me, it's like I don't want to say it's easier, but it's definitely easier.
It's easier.
Yeah,
No,
you-
I'll
you-
agree with
you.
you.
You can.
Yeah.
When you're tracking in wide open country, right? Like for me, I can cover way more ground quickly. I can see a lot further, and I know when I'm getting close.
Yep.
In a lot of that country, I can spot that deer a long ways away, right?
Yep.
And when you know that you're getting close in that country, you kind of have to step on the brakes a little bit because you're gonna see him a long distance away. If you're faster you move, when he's slowing down, he's gonna see it. It's so wide open. And that's why, like a lot of guys, they say, "Oh, the deer sees me 300 yards away." Well, you're moving too fast or something, faster than your eyes can look, right?
Right.
I like hunting the north. Things are much more personable, up close and personable in terms of like most of your shots are between 20 and 50 yards. You better be on the ball.
Right. Up
Yeah,
close
that's
and
peep
personal.
sight country.
Mhm.
Peep sight.
Yep.
And you use a
Yeah.
scope.
Yeah, I use
I-
a Trigicon.
I was gonna actually. I've never asked you about this. It's probably a good time. Why have you never gone to a peep?
I can't hit the broadside of a barn.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Well,
Not
that's a
gonna
good
be
answer.
not gonna sugarcoat it. I am not one to use a peep sight.
Yep.
I mean, I can at 50 yards I can hit a pie plate, but to me, that's not good enough, right?
Mhm.
Like I know I am much more accurate with that Trigicon than peep sight.
Mhm.
Okay.
And I would say that Trigicon is as fast as it gets in terms of like a magnification and open sight. Like that's the closest thing you're going to get to it is that Trigicon. Closest open
To an
sight
open
feel.
sight.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because you prefer a 1 to 4. Is that what you
1 to
run?
4. Yep.
Yeah.
And that
Okay.
way you're not caught with your pants down,
Right.
right?
Yep.
You got your
Yep.
scope on 6 power or 8 power
Yep.
because you just
Oh,
cranked
yeah.
it up to look at some stump,
Yeah.
right? And
Yep.
the next thing you know, you forget to take it down, and
Yep.
well, that buck stands up 50 yards, and all you see is brown in the scope, or you can't even get him in the scope.
Right.
That's why I shoot a 1 to 4, right?
Now, do they make those Trigicons out of gold? Because it seems like they
They're
might be.
they're a little pricey, but I'll tell you this:
Damn, I don't know.
I bought my first one in 2006,
Okay.
and that sculpt today is still phenomenal.
I was 10 years old
Yeah, you were
back then. Yeah.
yeah.
You weren't even tracking
just-
bucks.
Wow.
Maybe.
I was tracking barn cats.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
Yeah,
This
I
goes back
was.
to this podcast I did with him a while ago. I'm pretty sure he was shooting barn cats.
had
He
to
won't
shoot
admit it.
barn Cats.
I was not shooting barn but I was tracking them. I swear.
But
I
yeah,
was tracking 'em.
yeah, no, I use a scope. You know, I've killed deer tracking that are 100 yards out,
Yep.
and with a peep gun, to me, that's a prayer shot.
Yeah.
And we all know when you're tracking bucks, like sometimes you only get one chance,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
and you got to capitalize on it.
Yeah.
You know,
I agree. I can't use peep sight to really save my life. I mean, I
Yeah.
can shoot it like a pie plate, like you said, but if I were to see a deer just like a head and neck, 100 yards off, probably couldn't hit it.
yeah.
Right.
Some guys, yeah, and some guys can, right?
Yeah.
Like some guys are. It's just an extension of their arm, right? Like they're
Yeah.
very, very
yeah.
good with it, you know.
Yeah.
And,
I can
and-
shoot pretty good with one.
Can you?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I just shot a rabbit the other day, a running rabbit with my 1022 with a Williams peep on it.
No kidding.
Yeah,
Huh.
got it.
See, we used to rabbit hunt a lot with a guy who's since passed away, but we were using 22s. We were using the same setups. He was using.
With the peeps?
Yep, he was using a Remington pump,
Oh, yeah.
right, with a scope on it. That was what he hunted with. It was an odd 6, pump, Remington pump. And I always shot a semi-auto, so I use a semi-auto
Yep.
22.
Yep.
I mean,
Good
awesome
practice.
practice.
Yep.
Yep. Yep. You just got to know where everybody is when you start letting loose.
Oh, yeah.
I'll tell you what, with the peep sight, that whole thing, I have a 7600 carbine with a scope. I have a 1.5 by 4 power Leupold on it, and I take that a lot of days. But I also have a 35 Whalen with a peep sight, fire sight, or it's got the like fiber optic on the end of it, and a Williams peep. And 2 years ago in Vermont, I didn't get a really nice buck because of that peep sight.
Really?
Oh yeah. He was 35 yards and I caught him and he was digging a fern up on top of this mountain. He was with a doe. It was fresh snow. It was still snowing that morning and I had done like 5 or 6 miles and I picked up his track up on top of this mountain. I was like, "Oh, you're right here. I got you." And I'm not even tracking. I'm just like making my way through, like scanning the whole thing because the top of the mountain's not very big. I knew he was up there with a doe, and I caught him. I thought it was a bear at first because he was big. He was a 200-pounder. And I turn, I see his shoulders, and he's digging a fern. I see his rack, and he was facing me. So I put that bead, and I'll never forget this. I'll never forget it. I put that bead right between his shoulder blades, like right where his like backbone is, because he was facing me, digging a fern, head down. And that fiber optic bead took up his whole back. So the entire thing, that was it. Like that bead, it covered him. And I touched it off and he humped up and ran. And I got over there and all I had was hair. And I followed him for quite a ways. And I think I actually could have killed that buck if I would have just calmed down and waited because I think he would have probably come back looking for that doe, looking back on it. But I was pretty fired up and I was after him quick. I thought I put a good shot on him, but I didn't.
So do you think if you had a scope, you could have killed that deer easy?
Oh my God.
Yep.
He wouldn't have known that he died.
Mm-hmm.
I would have broke his back right there. I would have split with a scope. I'm a good shot, and I'm a good shot with a peep sight too. But I learned don't take a frontal head down shot with the peep sight because if you don't have a piece of plywood to aim at, which I mean you're pretty much aiming at a pie plate at that point. The kill shot on a deer facing you at 35, 40 yards with his head down, it's not very big.
Right.
If you're a little high, you got hide there. You're a little right, you got hide. A little left, you got hide. So, I mean...
Aim between his brow points and touch one.
Yeah, well, I should have, but...
If he's looking at you, put it at the base of his white patch. And
He
drive.
well, he had his head down.
Did he?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a hard shot.
Yeah, I would have killed him with the rifle. With the scope.
Yeah.
With the scope, he wouldn't even have wiggled.
Yeah.
But I still take the peep. I ended up killing that same year. Yeah, it was that same year. It was the year I got my mass buck, and that was with the peep,
Yep.
with the muzzleloader. So,
Yep.
I mean, I didn't give up on it, and I think the key is broadside with the peeps.
Yeah.
You know, because it's like you're aiming more at a big area.
Yeah.
Especially past like 35, 40 yards.
You're
not-
bound to miss one, whether you're shooting a scope or peep.
Yeah,
sooner or
I mean,
later.
I missed it with the scope too.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's you're bound to miss a buck, but
Yeah, I mean,
That
I
one
miss
just
more
hurts.
freaking buck. I miss buck every year. I'll miss at least 2 buck a year. Like I am terrible when it comes to that. I'm naturally right-handed.
Yep.
But I shoot left-handed because I'm left eye dominant, right?
my dad's the same way.
And when I was 18, I didn't realize it until I was like 18, 19, and when it, well, actually I was a little bit younger than that, but when it came, I was playing baseball and my coach was like, why don't you freaking turn the other way and hit the ball, you know? And that's when it kind of clicked, right? Like I was driving, all my power was right-handed, but I saw the ball better left.
Mm-hmm.
And I owned a right-handed bow. I owned everything right-handed, and I switched it. Bought a left-handed bow, started shooting a semi-auto because to this day I can't shuck a pump left-handed and stay on that target. I come off of it. I wander one side or the other. That's why I shoot that Browning, MK3 speed, is because I can keep right on it. There's no wiggle, right? And I can shoot with both eyes open, and I can keep on that target.
Keep following it.
Yep, but I have struggled over the years. You know, I'm pretty much got one good eye. That's the left eye, and that's about it.
No kidding.
Mm-hmm.
So your right eye, like, are you losing vision in it, or?
No, it's the right eye is like 20/50, but it's. I went to the eye doctor last year to try and figure this out if I could like get surgery or whatnot. And basically, what it is the pupil is crossed behind the retina ever so slightly, almost like if someone was cross-eyed in a way. So there's just a slight blur to my vision if I was to close my left eye.
Mm-hmm.
And when I look through a scope, I can't see through that scope past 50 yards.
Really?
Yeah, cannot do it. But if I can shoot a shotgun like a mother humper right-handed, right? It's up close and personal. There's very few people who can shoot a shotgun pump faster than I can tell you that. And I'm super accurate, but you get beyond that point, and I can't see shit.
Really?
A bit better off freaking throwing stones.
Yeah.
No kidding.
So that's why I switched everything to left, and it definitely, is easier for me. It's just unnatural.
Right.
Right?
You got to do what works.
Mm-hmm. Yep. But I think the moral of this story, right, like, it doesn't matter what gun you use.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, oh, gotta have a pump, gotta have a pump.
Yeah.
Some of the best trackers I know use bolt actions.
Yep.
Scopes, like, whatever works for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever works.
You know?
You don't need a peep gun and a pump.
No, you
No.
don't.
No. No. Nope.
The only
You don't.
reason I like using the peep is I think it is fast.
Yeah.
It is fast.
Yep.
The target acquisition it's very fast. And like sometimes I think I have a problem with going a little too fast sometimes, especially after the first jump and the first time you jump a deer. And I think that peep sight is just like a fraction faster.
Yeah.
You're going to get that running shot just you're going to get it
Right.
just.
So, I mean, obviously I own a 760, right? Who doesn't? But
Yeah.
when I was screwing around with the peeps, I was using a Williams rear, take the aperture out, right? I put a fire sight on the front of it,
Yeah.
and then I took that fire sight out of it, right? Tap that fire sight right out. So it was a hole to a hole.
Yep.
So you could see through it. So you knew for that same thing, right? Like when that deer's 100 yards out there, all you can see is that orange. You're like,
Yep.
where is the deer, right? You can still see that deer through it.
It's not
pretty
blocking.
cool.
You pick brown, pull the trigger.
Huh.
Good
I've
idea.
never heard of that.
Yep.
That's interesting.
But still, wasn't for me.
Right.
I just,
Well,
I
I'd
felt
say
more
you-
comfortable.
you got a pretty good combo.
Yeah.
With your auto loader there.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then muzzleloader, I'm running a Leupold 2-7.
2 to 7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
You
an
keep
awesome
that
scope.
down on 2 most of the time anyway. Huh?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But like that time of year, right? Like the freezer's already full for the most part, and I'm usually horn hunting at that point in time.
Yeah.
So I want that extra magnification to like make sure that buck is something that I want to shoot, right? But then again, on the other side, the flip side of it is you got one shot. And if that deer's down there quite a ways, you want to make sure that it's going to count.
Yeah, good shot on him.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So that's what I use.
Yeah.
Yep.
I
That's
think
it.
that's pretty good.
It's a wrap.
All right, guys. See you on the next one.
Later, guys.